My name is Sawyer Houseknecht, and
I'm Sven Houseknecht.
And today we're interviewing our great grandpa, Dan Hess. Where were you born?
I was born here in Astoria in 1938 at the St. Mary's Hospital. Family's been here a long time. The ranch was homesteaded in 1889.
Cool. Is there any funny stories to tell about
it? Well, let's see. It seemed like it was all work or play. The summer we'd just run off the porch and jump overboard and go swimming there in Cook Slough. My brother and I used to trap from November 15th to February 15th in Cook Slough, up and down. We used to go duck hunting, and we have a double-end duck boat that we would put in the ditches, and we would come around and stay below the level of the ground on the water in the duck boat. And we both jumped up duck boat, fired at the flock of geese, and we rolled the duck boat over, and the next thing you know, we were standing in water up to our belly buttons. Got in all kinds of trouble and got out of a lot of trouble and had an awful lot of fun that we didn't know we were having fun until you look back on it. But it was a kick in the pants. There was always something to do, either good, bad, or indifferent.
What was a fun memory about living here?
I think back when we were in high school, a real good friend of mine, we got together and we bought a gillnet boat. And we went gillnet fishing. And we had some weird experiences. I mean, being absolutely green at it. We tore up the gear a little bit here and there, but I think the best one was we just made a drift up out of Tongue Point, and we had the net in the water, and we were taking what we called a flying ebb because the tide was really running hard. And I had talked my wife into coming with us, and we were out there. We saw we were going to hit some piling, so we were going to pick up that end of the net, and she got to laughing at us. Another fish boat further up heard her laughing at us. He threw his buoy overboard and came down to say, "Hey, you got ladies on that boat?" And my wife got all embarrassed and started giggling, and Dave's girlfriend started giggling and told him, "Hell yeah, what else do you do out here but sit and neck for 2 hours?" And he said, "Well, no wonder we can't catch any fish." I had no idea that was a no-no, so to speak.
You used to be a longshoreman. What was that like?
That was probably one of the most interesting jobs I've ever had. I was there for 17 years until I got old enough to retire. It's loading cargo on ships that come in from all over the world. We boarded wheat, which is probably one of the dirtiest, let's just not say the best job in the world. It's wheat coming down out of a pipe, and you steer the pipe around with ropes to wherever you want the wheat to go, and then you have to get in there and level it off so that it will ride level in the hatch of the ship. We loaded logs. We would be shipped to different places. Went to California, Sacramento, and loaded vegetables on a ship down there when they didn't have enough manpower. We were sent to Seattle. We had tuna fish come in here that would be frozen. You have to pry them loose and get them out. And they went to Bumblebee Cannery when it was here. Load lumber in Westport from the sawmill. And then we would get an ore of some kind. and we would unload that, and it was all moved by conveyor belts except in the hatch. And then when you got down low enough, you'd put a little bulldozer in there to push the ore up to the bucket elevator that would take it out of the hatch. And then when it got down to that, you ended up putting all your gear on so you could breathe in the dust. You go down and hose it all out so it was clean. And then they would go from here to Portland and load wheat and go back to China or Japan or wherever they were going.
Did you ever do drag racing?
Oh boy, yes, we really did. I worked all summer there, helping put the hay in and making bent grass, and then we run the seed mill, the seed cleaner, which Grandpa and my dad put it together in the boat shed. And we took the load of seed down to south of Salem. There was a 1950 Ford four-door sitting there. And when we came back, I asked my dad if we could stop and look at it because it had a for sale sign in it. Well, we bought it for $800. Well, that was my summer's wages, was that car. It had an old Ford flathead in it, 85 horsepower. And it was a big black four-door, weighed 3,516 pounds. And then we took that little flathead out of the Ford and put that Pontiac V8 in there with the automatic transmission. And then on the side of it, right behind the front tire, there's a little panel before it gets to the door. We used the single white pen and put the outline of a Model A. And underneath it, we called it Mom's car because it was strictly stock. And we could turn 116 in a quarter mile at drag races when we had it all put together. So at that time, you could ask anybody in town whose car was one of the fast ones and always say Mom's car. And everybody wondered who the hell's Mom has got that car. But we really had a lot of fun of that. We went down to Seaside during the summer and went chasing girls. Your turn's coming. But and just drove up and down the main street. And every now and then you'd just give it a little gas, rear tire to spin and howl and scream. One of the fellas we raced, well, we beat him. And the guy that I had riding with me to this day will not get in the car with me. We went from where the bottom of 8th Street is, at the flat, where the county shops are, up to that, there's that little S-curve at the end. And we went across around that S-curve sideways. And he swore up and down we were going to end up in the river. But we had an awful lot of fun with that car.
Cool. Well, thank you for telling us all that.
You're more than welcome. Thanks for asking. Appreciate it. Brings back a lot of memories.